I'm Mark Saxon, and this is Back to the Drawing Board. Now, here we discuss sports kind of how you would just in your living room, sitting back, kicking it, and just shooting the shit. And as my fellow Letter Kenny fans, pitter patter, let's get at her. First, we're going to talk about the NHL. Ovi chasing history, chasing Gretzky, the great one. 34 goals behind the record, 12 goals in 8 games. Playing his ninth game now, hasn't scored yet. Going to keep an eye on that. A lot of people, you're gonna ask. Some hate it, some love it. Uh, where I'm coming from is you got to tip your cap, dude. Chasing the great one in goals. I mean, what else is there, dude? That's history. I mean, whether you love to see him not do it or love to see him do it, it's gonna be a joy to watch. This season, I think is gonna be interesting. Hockey in general, I think is gonna heat up. Obviously, we'll start in the Eastern Conference. The Panthers doing what the Panthers do. Played 14. They're 10-3-1, 21 points. I mean, what else did you expect from the champs, right? Kind of picking up where they left off. The Toronto Maple Leafs, uh, they're hot right now, right? 8-5-2, 15 points. But we all know what they end up doing towards the end of the season. Boston and Detroit, right there, 15 and 13 points. Buffalo hanging around for right now. Subject to change really quickly for Buffalo. Um, in my opinion, I don't think really anything past Detroit's really going to do anything. Metropolitan, Carolina, and Jersey, 20 points. Jersey with a huge, huge loss over the offseason. RIP. And then you got the Caps, 18 points. The Rangers, 17. And then everybody else kind of doesn't matter. Western Conference, Winnipeg. I mean, hey, the Jets made some noise last year. I don't know, man. I always feel like they fall a step short. See if they can finally come up with the final pieces to get it done. Same with Minnesota, right? 20 points. They're looking good so far, 9-2-2. And then the Stars. The Stars are another one. I thought they were going to do it and make it to the Cup, and they just fell short. They just ran out of gas deep in the postseason. And then the Utah Hockey Club, which no one hates more than me. Love seeing the Coyotes play, watching them growing up. I'm a big Wings fan, but living in Arizona, wouldn't mind Arizona hockey right now. Nonetheless, it's not the players' fault. They're sitting at 15 points, starting off good. Then you got St. Louis and Colorado, 14 and 12. Colorado with a huge loss. Um, Defensively, with that injury, and you know that's what the season is. 82 games. It's gonna try you. It's gonna test you. We'll see what they can come up with. Um, the Blackhawks suck. Predators suck. Going into the Pacific, the Knights and the Kings at 19 points apiece. Vancouver, 17 points. Calgary, 16 points. Edmonton, 13 points. So the Battle of Alberta there, 13 and 16. It's going to be interesting to see how it shapes up. It's still really early. And then you kind of got, the Kraken at 11, the Ducks at 10, and the Sharks at 10. It's going to be interesting. See how it goes along. Like I said, I think pretty much the East has pretty much about the same 8 teams. The West maybe might shake it up. Let's go to the NBA. Tonight, Friday night, Celtics beating the Nets in overtime. I'm a huge Celtics fan, so go C's. And Cleveland, a perfect 10-0, taking that first spot in the Eastern Conference. The Celtics with 2 losses. Then you got the Knicks, and they got Charlotte. Pacers handed the Celtics their first loss. I mean, obviously, Pacers do what they did last year. That's not a club to mess around with either. Go to the West. The Phoenix Suns starting off hot. 8-1, and OKC right there with 8-1. Phoenix is another team. You feel like they got it together, and then they don't. They fuck around and find out. real late in the season. Sometimes a little bit earlier. So we'll see. We'll see what they have to show going forward. Something I do love seeing is the Lakers are nowhere to be found in the top five, and they're 4-4. I don't know about you guys, but I really hate how sports market nowadays, where they try and market certain players and they kind of shove that roster down your throat. So I was really happy to see that Bronny went down to the G League. I couldn't handle two James on the same team in the same court. That news would just be awful. Look what they did with Shohei. So it'd have been death by marketing. Going to the college football. And I mean, no surprise, Oregon's still number one. Ohio State, number two. Georgia, number three. Miami, 9-0 at a number four. I kind of think that they're dissing Miami right now. Texas falling to five. And then I'm a big LSU fan, so they fell all the way down to 15 after losing to Texas A&M. It was a huge loss. 3 interceptions in the second half. Obviously, that's not going to get it done. LSU having Bama tomorrow. It's going to be a big game. Can't wait for that. Right now, Bama's favored, so we'll see how that goes. I think really that's the biggest game. Ohio State's playing Purdue. Obviously, that's going to be a blowout. Miami over Georgia Tech, going to be a blowout. Texas over Florida. I think Florida will keep it close for at least a half. And then Georgia and Ole Miss. That's going to be interesting now. Georgia has a chance to kind of seal their top five. Ole Miss ain't nothing to push around either, though. So those are the games I'm keeping an eye on over the weekend. So we'll see. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Let's go to the NFL. And obviously, big Packers fan. Go Pack, go. And football's kind of been weird this year where we're not seeing anybody kind of really emerge except for obviously you got the Chiefs who are undefeated right now. There's not anything that's kind of sticking out. So in the AFC East, you got Buffalo in first. Buffalo's another team having trouble in the playoffs. All right, they can't. That's another team that just can't get over that hump. But they're 7-2 right now. The Jets staying alive. Devontae Adams being added to the squad. Still don't agree with that Saleh firing, but I mean, hey, they're hanging in there. I guess you got the Dolphins 2-6 and the Pats 2-7. The AFC North, that's a tricky division. So you got Pittsburgh, who's in first by the amount of games that they played, 6-2. That team's strictly winning because of the defense, in my opinion. And I think that's kind of been interesting. And kind of one of my favorite things about the Steelers, I hate the Steelers, by the way, but one of my favorite things is Mike Tomlin has always found a way to keep a solid defense on the field, and not only keeping a 500 or better team every year he's been there, but always relevant in the playoff talks. And you said that's something you got to tip your cap to. The Ravens 7-3. That's another team who we thought maybe would be a powerhouse. Seeing in the Super Bowl, maybe the ones to be able to take on Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs, and they just kind of haven't gotten it done. Derrick Henry having one hell of a year. I think it's Henry and Jacobs, and I forget the three that are the top 3 rushers right now. I mean, and obviously, anytime you pick up Henry, it's gonna be nothing but good things. And Barkley. So sorry, it goes Henry, Barkley, and then Jacobs. All free agent signings over the offseason. Very interesting stuff. We'll see how that goes. And then you got the AFC South, Houston. I mean, I'm a huge fan of C.J. Stroud. I think he's a good class act. Got a lot to learn, but you know what young quarterback doesn't? So that's going to be interesting. And then you got Indy, Anthony Richards. I don't understand how he can't finish a game. I mean, maybe he wants to focus on his rap career. And then you got the Titans and the Jackson. See, Jacksonville's another one. Everybody thought T-Law, maybe get him some weapons. Maybe this is the guy. 2-7. I mean, we're going to week 10. It's not where you really want to see those guys. So then you got the Chiefs, obviously 8-0. The Chargers, 5-3, right behind them. Chargers battling some injuries, and they've always just had a coach that just couldn't get it done. So with Harbaugh, maybe we'll see a team that can finally make it over that Charger curse. They always find the most Charger way to lose. Then you got Denver 5-4, who, hey, Knicks is finding a way. Knicks is finding a way, and then the Raiders, pretty much where we expected them at 2-7. Now the NFC East. This is an interesting division because right now you have the Washington Commanders, the Commies, at 7-2. And that team, I mean, obviously Jaden Daniels doing Jaden Daniels things. You got Scary Terry. You've got, I mean, that defense that's just making it happen when they need to. And they're leading the East for, I think, the first time in like I don't know how many years. Then you got the Eagles 6-2. Here was a shocker. Was Dallas. Dallas at 3-5. They just put Dak on the injured reserve. Frankly, I think they're cashing in the season. They missed some off-season signings. They didn't really do anything at the trade deadline. For whatever reason, Dallas just didn't show up this year. I don't know what's going on. But, a lot of people want to blame Dak. A lot of people want to blame Jerry Jones. A lot of people want to blame McCarthy. Frankly, I just don't think because they didn't add anybody. And I know they've had a few injuries as well. But not adding anybody for a team who got blown out against the Packers in the postseason, I mean, that says enough in itself. Then you got the Giants. Danny Dimes and the Giants, I don't think they're ever going to figure it out over there. Now, the NFC North, arguably the toughest division in the NFL. Detroit just handing Green Bay their second divisional loss. That was a game. It was a really good game. A lot of people want to say that, it's obvious the Lions are a juggernaut team. They're going to take the North, that they stomped on the Packers. Listen, we didn't have our center. Jair Alexander was injured. Jordan Love wasn't all the way healthy. And then Josh Jacobs, I mean, he had over 100 yards by halfway through the second quarter. And we didn't play him at all in the second half. In an interception, a bonehead interception on Jordan Love, that didn't help the situation. In my opinion, they were outplayed. Obviously, penalties were a story as well. I think the Packers gave away like 100 yards on penalties. All I'm saying is the second half of the season, we'll see. Remember, we got to see these guys another time. Obviously, yeah, it's probable that the Lions are going to win the North, but I don't think it's promised. So that'll be interesting. You got Minnesota 6-2, Green Bay 6-3, and the Bears 4-4. I still think that the Bears are pretenders. I don't think Caleb Williams is the answer by himself. I think the Bears do this thing where they think a quarterback's going to be their saving grace, like the second coming, and then when that kid should be carrying a clipboard, they make him carry the team on their back, and then they fold. I don't think it was Mitch Trubisky's fault. I don't think it was Justin Fields' fault. Obviously, doing it in Pittsburgh, starting off with a hell of a start. Tomlin made up his mind he was going with experience. He went with Russ. As soon as Russ was healthy, he put him in the game, stuck with the game plan. I just think that the Bears are going to be pretenders until they can put a real line on the field. More than just old busted up weapons. No disrespect to Keenan Allen, but he's lost a few steps. DJ Moore needs help. Their running game isn't the best. I don't know. 4-4, frankly, was way better than I would have given them credit for at the beginning of the season. The NFC South, the Falcons 6-3. They turned it around. Tampa 4-5, could have very easily been 5-4. Overtime loss against the Chiefs. And then Carolina, the Saints. I don't understand losing 6 straight. That's insane to me. That's completely insane. I don't know what happened. Sorry, 7 straight they lose. Doesn't make sense to me. The NFC West. Here's a surprise. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, first place. I don't understand that either. The Rams, the Niners, and the Seahawks all chasing by a game or half a game. Plenty of time left in that division. McCaffrey's coming back. I think it's going to go back to the Niners. we'll see if the Cardinals can stick around. Now, I also love to sports gamble, and this is a segment I like to call Chalk Up the Bets on the Betting Blackboard. So I'm just putting my favorites out there. I mean, it's only $5, but I got the Cavs over the Nets tomorrow, Wings over the Rangers, LSU over Bama, and Oregon over Maryland. $5 wins you $30.22. I mean, hey, nothing to shake a stick at. Not terrible. I mean, maybe picking at the low fruit there, but hey, triple my money, right? So Mark Saxon, once again, back to the drawing board. Thanks for joining.